Hey guys, welcome to Bastian time, and this is This Week in Zelda News. Just to clear up some things, I know I spoke to this yesterday, but I just want to be really clear. This Week in Zelda News is actually the episode of Zelda News on Monday, and then the episode of Zelda News on Wednesday, shoved together back to back in one family-sized video for you to watch. So if you've already seen it, on Monday and Wednesday, no point really in watching this video, unless you want to for whatever reason, and that's cool. But 2 weeks ago there was a whole bunch of confusion where a couple people thought that I had accidentally re-uploaded Wednesday's video, or maybe it was Monday's video, all over again. And so I just wanted to be very clear about what This Week in videos are all about. Also on my main page, you can click on the Bastian time button that's right about over here, and that button will show you a schedule on the side that says, you know, what the video is for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and so that way we're all very clear and nobody is re-watching videos that they didn't intend on doing. So anyways, there's that. Let's get to the first story. It has finally occurred to me after all this time, due to several comments from some people, that I haven't really talked about this watch, although maybe I have and I just don't remember. But if I have, then apparently none of you can remember either. So this is the Zelda Watch from the 80s. And it doesn't have a battery in it right now, but it lets you play a Zelda sort of style game. And I actually had this same sort of watch when I was a kid, same color and everything, but I didn't get very far in the game because it was really not well designed, let's just say. But anyways, a friend, after all of these years, gave me another copy that he had had for a long time. So anyways, there's that. I'm not just some crazy person pointing to a watch. Well, actually, yes I am. Never mind. Anyways, let's get to that first story. So a father and daughter were playing a bunch of Zelda games together, and the father decided that for when his daughter was playing Wind Waker, he was going to do something kind of revolutionary as far as Zelda games go, and that is to hack the Wind Waker only to change all of the pronouns in reference to Link from male to female. So that way, when his daughter entered her own name, it would make sense. And for the female Zelda fans out there who have gone ahead and inputted their name, of course you'll notice that despite whether you enter a female name or a male name, they always, when referring to Link, refer to him as him and he, of course. Before Halloween, Christina Aguilera dressed up like this, and her date dressed up as well. And for whatever reason, this magazine article is claiming that she is dressed up as Zelda Warrior Princess. I wasn't aware that there was any incarnation of Zelda wherein she was a warrior princess, but I would welcome such an incarnation. But despite that, she doesn't look anything like Zelda, and her date is wearing a green tunic sort of thing. But yeah, definitely not Zelda and Link. I'm not really sure what that's about. Our next story is about an amazingly detailed replica of the Skyward Sword Harp, and it's just down to the finest detail, a perfect replica, except the problem with it is that it doesn't play like a harp. Now, this is up for sale on Etsy, and I suppose the point of this is you could use it as like a decoration piece, or if you're cosplaying or going for Halloween as Skyward Sword Zelda, then this would be useful, or even Sheik from Ocarina of Time, because it's the same harp, really. I would be so much more inclined to buy this if it actually played like a harp. If you could play it as an instrument, I'd buy it in a heartbeat, but as it's not, nah, not for me. But speaking of things that you can buy if you'd like, Fangamer decided to sort of compile a list of various Zelda art pieces that are for sale, and this particular one is obviously the Master Sword and the Four Sword, the two most iconic swords in the Zelda franchise, along with the various symbols that sort of relate to each of those. And this one's created by an artist named Mikey Mann, and I'm pointing this out just for the simple fact that I have met Mikey Mann on 2 occasions, actually. The first time was at Triforce Tribute, which was an art show here in Portland of all Zelda art pieces, and it was amazing. And he had an awesome piece. It wasn't this one, it was a different piece. And it was fantastic, possibly one of the best there, possibly the best there. Anyways, so I met him at the art show, and then eventually we ended up meeting for coffee and playing Four Swords on our 3DSs and had a grand old time. And I was able to take a look at this piece before it was in its final form, and it looked great then, it looks amazing now. If you want a copy of this or any of the other pieces that Fangamer has compiled from various different artists, there'll be a link for you down below. Official Nintendo Magazine, quite a while back, collected 10 secrets and facts about the Zelda series, and then recently they went ahead and compiled a list of 10 more amazing Zelda facts and secrets, and most of these are things that we already know, which is kind of a letdown. But one of the things that they mentioned is something I think I might have read once and then completely forgot about, and I thank the Golden Goddesses that they mentioned it again, because it sort of allowed me to go on a bit of an adventure, which is Link's Awakening, the Game Boy game, actually uses the engine and some graphics and actually a character to specifically Prince Richard. If you've played Link's Awakening, you'll remember him. It's borrowing all of this stuff, more importantly, the engine of an earlier Game Boy Nintendo game that was only released in Japan, but the Japanese title translates into For the Frog, the Bell Tolls, which obviously is a play on, I think it's Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls. But anyways, it's an amazing game, and I know this because I, after learning that Link's Awakening borrowed all of these things from it, decided, well, I've got to play it. And so thank goodness, just last year, a fan translator created a translation patch for the game, and all of these years later, and like a decade later, 2 decades later, 20 years later, wow. And it's so much fun. It is kind of similar to Zelda in a lot of respects, but very different from Zelda. It's more of a RPG than Zelda is, for instance. But anyways, it's great, and it's just interesting to see these various things that ended up in Link's Awakening. Just random weird things like the bookshelf graphic and so on. So anyways, if you want to check out these other 9 facts and secrets, there's a link for you down below. And as you can probably guess, yeah, I'm probably going to be doing a Games Like Zelda episode on For the Frog the Bell Tolls, because I've been completely addicted to it since I found out about it 3 days ago, and have been playing it non-stop, almost done. So anyways, stay tuned for that at some point. Next up is an amazing Papercraft piece of Toon Link, and this particular picture maybe doesn't showcase it best of all. You can't really tell that his face is completely round and 3D. It's just, I can't even imagine the painstaking work it takes to create something like this. I couldn't do it, but anyways, good job, Papercrafter. And speaking of Paper and Zelda, over at IGN there was a blog about Paper Zelda that made the rounds across the video game websites recently, and basically it's just somebody begging for Paper Zelda. And I don't know. I'm of two minds about the idea of a Paper Zelda. First of all, I think it's highly unlikely that Nintendo would ever do Paper Zelda, simply because, yeah, there's Paper Mario, but there's Mario RPG, there's all kinds of sports Mario games, soccer and Olympics, and it's like Mario is Nintendo's sandbox that they get to play in and then create these different projects from. And, uh, and Zelda is something that they sort of keep closer to their chest and don't really experiment too much with. They just sort of, I mean, Four Swords was kind of a big experiment, I don't know. I just don't see them doing a Paper Zelda. But if they did, I think it would be pretty awesome. It would certainly be unusual because, I mean, Paper Mario, for all intents and purposes, is an RPG. So it would be really interesting to see Zelda as an RPG. Maybe they would even have to do a side-scrolly thing, in which case they could sort of harken back to Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link and maybe have a game that takes place directly after that or in that era or something, but with super fancy new graphic paper versions. Could be really awesome, actually. So, anyways, I'd like to see Paper Zelda, but I seriously doubt that Nintendo's ever going to actually do it. And then our final story is about Battle Quest, which I'm sure many of you have already played. In fact, I bet there are some of you who have even already completed every single stage in it. So this will come as no shocker to you that several of the stages in Battle Quest are based directly on Skyward Sword temples and dungeons. For instance, the Fire Temple. And that's not to say that they use the layout of the dungeon and the same puzzles and so on, but simply that they use like the architectural style, the basic graphics design for that. And I think this is just simply because it's the most recent Zelda game to when they were making Battle Quest, and I guess they probably just figured, it's not too much of an effort to just reuse some of those assets or base their designs on those. I bet that eventually there are going to be some timeline theorists that are going to try to use the fact that graphically they're kind of linked as a way of placing Battle Quest in the timeline, which is kind of crazy because I'm pretty sure Battle Quest is not meant to be in the timeline whatsoever. But anyways, that's going to be fun to see on the film. So that's it for this week in Zelda News. I'll see you tomorrow for This Week in Nintendo News. Bye!